you're up.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Let's see who's here. So check in, write your name in the box, and let me know who's here so I know who I'm talking to. I'm super excited. Tonight's our third call. You should be right in the middle of your second chakra training. And I just want to know who's on the call. And yeah, we'll just start with that. We'll start with that because I'm going to have a few questions for you guys tonight. Hi, everyone. Hi, Corinne. Good to hear from you. So I know this is delayed. It takes a second for me to ask the question and see everybody. Sharon's here. Shelly's here. Trina's here. Suzanne, Lucy. Lucy, I missed you in class tonight. Kim. Hi, Kim. Liz, Nicole. Nicole's tummy is getting so cute. We have 3 pregnant Sati beauties. 3. Joanna, who did leader training. Did she do leader training? Yes, she did leader training. Is pregnant with twins. So I was saying tonight in class, because I did the second chakra, the one that you guys are doing now. I did in class tonight. And I said, be careful, everybody. 3 people got pregnant when we did this series. In fact, that's why I think Nicole actually decided to do leader training, because she was like, this works. Amy, where are you? Are you in San Francisco? Sharon, I just saw Sharon at Soul Camp, which was so awesome. You guys have to go to Soul Camp. It's so much fun, and it's so just all our people, and it's really, really, really amazing. I got to teach an all camp Intensati class, and it's just like, you're going to get there when you're teaching, and then everybody's just doing it, and it feels good, and it's just like, it's like heaven. So I get to do an all camp Intensati when I go, and just met so many great people, and was trying to meet people in LA so that we could grow the community in LA, and met some really shakers and movers. And basically all I did all weekend was, do you live in LA? Do you live in that area? Will you be my friend? I was literally going, will you be my friend? I'm coming out to LA once a month. I need community. I need friends out there. I need people to introduce me to their people. And it was just great. I got a lot of connections and a lot of people going, yeah, I can interview you for my blog, or I can interview you for my vlog, or I can introduce you to this group of friends. So it was really, really great. It's just great to have that community and those kinds of people in your life that really support you, isn't it? And you guys are doing great. I know that who taught already? Samantha taught. And Nicole, when's your class? I know it's coming up. And Julia's been teaching. Who else has been teaching? Lucy, have you taught? I think you have. Anyway, tonight really is about checking in on yourself and seeing what you are proud of so far that you have already learned or accomplished or overcome in this training. So, oh, you're back in, Amy's saying, no, I'm back in New York, but heading for Georgia on Wednesday. Okay. How are you doing on your journey? It's just a moment to check in. So I know some of you aren't teaching yet, and some of you are really in the game of practicing and getting ready to go. But can you just type in the chat box a yes if you have taught already? A yes if you've taught already. Barbara. Awesome. Just write a yes if you've taught already. I want to see where you guys are and what's happening. We've been having a really good time having leaders show up to class and just bringing this amazing energy to class. And I've been teaching the second chakras, which is all about playfulness and fun. And you guys are doing the second chakra right now. And then you're going to be getting the next one. I don't know the exact date. I guess it's in a couple of weeks. But what I wanted to bring up about the second chakra is really the power of playfulness. The power of playfulness. The second chakra is really in charge of all of our senses, right? It gives us the experience of life. It is easier to smell things and touch things and take things in with all of our senses. It governs all of our senses. And so when we feel shut down in this area, food doesn't taste so great, and somebody says, what do you want to do tonight? You're like, whatever you want to do. And there's this feeling of like, it's just kind of tasteless or boring, but I think that is evidence of fear being present. So if you think about what's the best remedy for fear, what's the best remedy for stress, it's laughter, it's joy, it's like the opposite. And so being in the second chakra right now, while you guys are going through this training, it's really good timing. So I cannot encourage you enough to actually, whether you're teaching or not, to be doing the workouts while we're going through this process. If you're someone that says, but I'm not teaching yet, I'm not even looking at my materials, you're really going to be missing out on a big part of what this practice is about, which is you understanding yourself, you loving yourself. So if you're not really investing in yourself in this practice, that where you're just living it, you're going through the process, you're experiencing it, you're really going to miss out not only on the conviction that you'll gain when you actually go and teach, the time immersed in what you're teaching, but you're going to miss out in the just experience of putting yourself through this process for yourself, not for who you're going to be teaching, not to become a better teacher or a better coach, not to become more popular, not to change people's lives. All of that stuff is great, but it's really first and foremost about you taking this journey of self-love. And so I want you to type in the box and just let me know if you think you know what self-love is. Type of yes. If you don't, type a no. So I think it was it Luce that was posting on the leader page saying that somebody had said, you'll have that when you love yourself. And she's like, how do I know if I love myself? So I thought it was a really good question. And I think it's really one that I want you guys to be living through this time that we have together. Like, put a Post-it up that says, are you loving yourself? Are you being loving? Are you being loving? And put reminders on your phone, just so that you can start to contemplate and evaluate and start to say, what is self-love? What does it look like when I'm living it? One way that I always check in with myself is, how would I treat my children if they were in this same situation? So one way we can check in if we are being loving to ourselves is, are we doing for ourselves what we would be doing for those that we love? Are you loving, giving love, expressing love, speaking to yourself in a loving tone, being generous, being kind, being compassionate? Are you being those things to yourself? And you only know how you personally express love to your loved ones. So just think about that right now, and maybe you can write something in the chat box that says, think of the people that are nearest and dearest that really invoke that presence of real love. And write down in the chat box, what are some of the things that you do for people that you love? What are some of the things that you do? Who are you being when you're in the presence of somebody that you love? So one is, I can think of it, right? My children. I can think of them and I think, I'm forgiving. I'm patient. Not all the time, but I know that that is something that's important to me. When they're screaming and yelling and fighting and pulling each other's hair, instead of losing it, my goal is to be able to manage myself so that I can call up the patience that I need so that I can speak clearly and teach them what it is I want them to learn in this situation, right? How to treat each other, how to use their words instead of their hands, and use those opportunities when things are really chaotic as opportunities to not just scold them or manage them or even just separate them, but to teach them something. The reasons it's getting chaotic is because they don't have the tools to communicate. They don't have emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is, for the most part, not something we're born with, but it's something that we develop over time. It's something we develop with intention. And if we have parents that were emotionally intelligent, they could understand their own emotions. They could label them, they could investigate them, and they could regulate themselves, right? So if I did not grow up in a home where there was a lot of strong emotional intelligence, my parents fought a lot, everything was very reactionary, there just wasn't a lot of managing emotions. So I had to really work on developing that in myself. And it's a day-to-day thing. So I want to read some of your things here about how do you know? Let's see. Nobody wrote anything? What do you do for your loved ones was the last question that I asked you guys, but nobody seems to want to answer that question. So if you do have something, so being patient, right? Being kind. The other person that I think of, I think of Kellen as well, but I feel like even with Kellen, I'm not quite as generous, as patient as I can be with the girls. But it's something I'm recognizing and something I'm really working on developing, my communication skills with her, my ability to communicate and not just react and yell about something that's bothering me. So that's really, again, emotional intelligence. And so why I'm bringing that up is because for me, the practice of intensati is really about developing that level of emotional intelligence. And when we're in the second chakra, if we can be somebody who's creating those opportunities for ourselves to have fun, right? To look for the good in not just the good, yeah, I can see that I'm learning in this process, but to find some way to bring ease and playfulness and joy into whatever it is we're doing, especially if it's something challenging. So let's take teaching, for example, right? So a lot of times you might be feeling like you don't want to do your practice class or you don't want to rehearse because you're afraid of not being good. You're afraid of not showing up in a way that you really have an idea in your mind that you would like to show up. You want to be liked. You want people to think that you're good at what you're doing. So that might be stopping you from actually stepping in to the practicing. Because if you're too worried about how you're going to look or being great, then it's really going to paralyze you from being able to take these steps that are really quite challenging. I was listening to a talk from Seth Godin. Do you guys know who he is? The Purple Cow. He talks a lot about creating movements and things like that. I'm going to find a TED Talk to post about him for you guys because it's really interesting what he talks about. And I was listening to him and he was talking about, he has a book called The Dip. And he says, whenever we are doing something, especially like what you guys are doing, you're in a practice where you're trying to develop these leadership skills, this emotional intelligence, this ability to figure out what it looks like and means to love yourself in your particular way. So he says, there's always a dip. There's always a time where you're going to meet an obstacle on your path. And if you know that it's a dip, if you know that it's temporary, it's easier to kind of get yourself ready for that challenge. So one example he was giving is he says, in medical school, when people go to medical school, in order to weed out the people that really are not going to be fully committed to being a doctor, they just kind of think it would be a great idea. Organic chemistry is that dip. This is the organic chemistry is where it weeds out the people that are just kind of thinking it would be a good idea, but don't really want to invest to get to that next level. So organic chemistry, when people know that organic chemistry is part of the curriculum just to weed people out, they can come to that dip with more consciousness, more awareness. They can know that this is the place where most people drop off and I'm not going to drop off. But that organic chemistry creates also scarcity. So it makes it that it's difficult to become a doctor, right? And so when someone becomes a doctor, you know that they've had to overcome these kinds of challenges. And so it's the same for you guys in your training as well. It's the same for all of us in anything that we want, right? So for instance, writing a book. I started writing a book and I got to this part where I had to start then getting it out there. And I got blocked. I got blocked for a few reasons. One, I got reinvested into leadership training. And two, I didn't like my agent. So I needed to backpedal a little bit. But there is that place, right? This is at the place that I am in the book process, is that I've generated what was easy already. I wrote what was easy, what was here on the surface. Then I created the proposal with somebody's help, right? And then we turned in the proposal and the proposal wasn't liked at all. And so I had to come back and be like, okay, now the effort that I'm going to have to make here is big. Am I ready for that? Is this really what I want to invest my time in? Is this that I'm feeling now really just fear showing up? Or is it really okay for me to shift and put my attention over here in the leadership training, right? So I know two things about myself. One, I know that when things get challenging, I'm so busy and I have so many ideas and I have so many things that I want to be doing and so many things I am doing that it's a good justification to be like, oh, okay, well, that got a little bit hard. Let me move over here and start working on this, on bringing leader training out, on having more leaders in the world. Well, then this gets a little bit difficult, right? It's difficult to fill up the LA training because I don't know a lot of people. So then I could hear myself starting to go, well, maybe I should go back and finish the book, or maybe I should try something different, instead of knowing this is a dip. This is one of those areas where it's a growing spurt. And so I have to be able to pull that out in myself. So it's the same thing that you guys are going to be up against. So one of the questions you want to ask yourself is, am I really willing to go through these difficult parts of this game? Or did I just join leader training because I thought it was going to be easy, or because I thought it would be cool, or because I wanted to be in this community, but I didn't really care about teaching? Now, a lot of people have come for different reasons, but I'd like you to get clear on your reasons. Because if you want to be excellent at being a leader, whether it's actually physically teaching Intensati or using these leadership skills in other areas of your life, you want to get really clear about, is this important enough for you that you'll be able to handle the dip, right? There is just that time where you've got to step in front of the room and you're not great yet, where you're still wondering. Yeah, I was working with Julia today. I don't know if she's on the line, but we were just trying to get to the music, right? Where's the one? Where's the one? Where's the one? And she was getting it about half the number of times. But the thing with Julia is she's got that. She's working on it, but she's also teaching. She's getting out into the park. She's doing free classes. She told me a great story today about being at the park, and then one lady showed up and was like, "We need this, and moms need this, and will you be here next week?" And she said, "Yeah, I'll be here next week." And then she went to show up and teach, and that woman didn't show up, but somebody else showed up. And she felt really good that even though she didn't have the musicality and even though she doesn't have everything completely together, she was able to make a difference for this woman who had never done Intensati. And Julia is just, at the very beginning of her journey. And she got to have that experience of not being perfect, yet making a difference for someone. That gave her some muscle. That gave her really some juice and some power. She was really lit up today, and it was just so great. And I wanted to share that story because I want you guys to remember that it's not just getting to a certain level that is the name of the game. It's remembering that the process is the name of the game. It's who you're being while you're in this journey that's going to give you the very muscle for being the type of leader that you really want to be. And it's about having that level of awareness that it's challenging and using it as this opportunity to really tap into that emotional intelligence, that skill, which is really a valuable skill. I was talking to someone today who is a business coach, and she is amazing. She's had a lot of success in growing businesses and products. And she talks a lot to corporations, and she talks about emotional intelligence. And so she was sharing with me today that in the workplace, this is a conversation that a lot of people are having. They're wanting to train their people in emotional intelligence. And we were saying how emotional intelligence, it's kind of like exercise, right? You don't just exercise once and you have it. You have to keep exercising. And as you keep exercising, you keep building on that strength, and that muscle gets stronger. And it's the same for emotional intelligence. So why I'm bringing that up too is because I want you guys to remember you're at the forefront of something. Now, I know I've been teaching this class for a long time, but we haven't hit our stride yet. It's not mainstream yet. And the time for that is near. It is very, very near. The conversations we're having in here are the conversations that are being held in corporations. People are saying we need emotional intelligence. We need our leaders to have emotional intelligence, because the people that have emotional intelligence are the leaders, the CEOs of companies. And this is something that very successful leaders have. Either they've developed it on purpose or they naturally have it. And that's really what we're developing here. And I wanted to read you something. I asked Amy to take this and to send it to you. And I know it's kind of boring to have me read, but it's so good. And I just want you to see if you can get something out of this. So this is from the Harvard Business Review, and this is a whole book on emotional intelligence. And it's really simplified, and it's really great for you to take in so that you can understand the value on another level of what it is that we're doing. So this is called Get Happy Carefully. And it starts by saying, good moods galvanize good performance, but it doesn't make sense for a leader to be as chipper as a blue jay at dawn if sales are tanking or business is going under. The most effective executive display moods and behaviors that match the situation at hand with a healthy dose of optimism mixed in. They respect how other people are feeling, even if it's gloom or defeated, but they also model what it looks like to move forward with hope and humor. This kind of performance, which we call resonance, is for all intents and purposes the four components of emotional intelligence in action. So if you just kind of think about what that says, first of all, it says good moods galvanize good performance. Good moves galvanize good performance. So what are we learning? We're learning how to be the master of our mood. So that already, just that line, that you guys know how to be a master of your mood, what it takes to anchor in a new state, that's powerful information. That's a powerful practice. It's a powerful muscle to teach your communities to experience. But you can't teach what you don't know. So being able to get yourself out there and teaching, get yourself out there and practicing these muscles is not only a practice that is going to be fulfilling for you, but just as we heard, Julia got to teach to one person in the park and really made a difference in her day. But the other piece that's really good here is that it's not just about being chipper as a blue jay every single morning. It's about understanding that we have emotions, but these emotions can be transmuted, right? We can tap in and say, wow, I'm scared. Yes, I'm stressed. Yes, I'm worried. Yes, I'm afraid of rejection, or I'm afraid of looking bad. And then we bring our attention inwards, right? We feel it. We try not to be afraid of it. You just learn to feel your stress. Just feel it and be like, wow, that's stress. That's sati. Awareness without judgment. I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm nervous. Why? Because I think people aren't going to like me. I think I'm not going to be good enough. I think it's not going to work out. I think I'm going to look like a failure. So that's the self-awareness piece. Checking in and being able to gauge our moods accurately, and then being able to control your emotions and act with honesty and integrity. That's self-management, which is the second key to emotional intelligence. I'm scared. I'm nervous. Now what? So Cal and I were talking about this last night, and we were saying how that we had had a friend over who has 4 kids and is going through a difficult time. And I said something like, wow, she's really going through a difficult time. But then I said, but when is raising a family ever not stressful? I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know if this is a good example at all, but I said, it's kind of like, when someone does this to you all day long. At first, it's not so annoying and you can handle it. But if someone's like that Chinese torture of the water, like ding, 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 that's, sorry, pregnant ladies, this is not meant to scare you. But the level of stress that you have to be capable of handling in order to do the job of parenting well is high. It's high because it's constant, especially when kids are little, right? They're screaming, they're yelling, they're fighting, they're pulling, they're late, you're late. It's like all of this stuff. And if you don't have good management skills, you really will end up feeling a lot of regret. You yelled at that one, you smacked this one, you rushed this one, you know, all of these things that we do when we're stressed that we wish we didn't do, right? So when we're talking about you being in this game and you being a leader, you're at the forefront of the skills that we're developing that are not just good so that we can manifest our dreams come true. These are really high level quality skills that high level CEOs are working to develop, and we have that practice. So one of the reasons I'm saying that is because I want you guys to get excited. I want you to get so excited that you are maybe facing a dip or a difficult time because you don't have the skills yet and you don't have the words coming out of your mouth easily, and you can maybe not even always find the one. But that stuff's learnable. That's just time. That's just building the muscle. That's just doing it. Everybody has to put that time in. Nobody gets to not put that time in. So you just got to put the time in. But what I want you to get is you guys are the front line. So there's people that I trained maybe 5 years ago. They're blooming now. Like, you guys went to Natalia Maldonado's class recently. Somebody was posting about that. She's awesome. She's amazing. She's been working her butt off. She's been dedicated and passionate. And there's teachers now that are really hitting their stride, but it's been a while. But you're there too. You're at the front line. And so by the time Intensati gets mainstream, you're already going to have invested enough time to be really good. And you're going to be the ones that are helping this grow. I can't grow by myself. It's really up to you. It really is. How many teachers can I train that will invest the time into being really good, that will help you get through the difficult parts about this? Growing your community, that's also might be a challenging thing that you're going to have to be facing. But if your passion and your love for this, if this is affecting your own personal life, you will find the way. You will find the way. And so as we go through this, and I'm planting these seeds of these words like the emotional intelligence and self-awareness and self-regulation and the ability to communicate effectively with yourself and with others. These are the skills you're learning to develop to teach Intensati. And these skills, whether you teach Intensati or you start another business or maybe you combine both, these are going to be the skills that are going to get you to really be able to put a stake in the ground, decide what you want, and be able to manage your emotions and manage your stress and manage your fears so that they don't stop you, so they don't hold you hostage to a life that is a lower standard than what you really want. And I want you for the next 2 weeks to really focus on enjoying the process, like really just enjoying the process. Talk to people about Intensati. Tell them what a difference it's made. Like, have one conversation a day. One conversation a day with somebody new about what is Intensati. So you learn to verbalize it. You learn to have it come out of your mouth. You learn to share about how it has positively influenced your life. Share about your journey, about being in leader training and facing your fears. I want you guys to get really good at sharing yourselves authentically, not just when you're in front of the class, because that's when you're going to be the most nervous. You have to build that skill of sharing authentically on a daily basis with people you see in your life on a daily basis. So think about it in these next 2 weeks. Can you really focus on what the second chakra is about? Go back, if you haven't read about the second chakra in the notes that I've given you, go back and do that. If you haven't done the workout yet, go and do it. Get yourself in a schedule, in a regular commitment that every week you know what you are doing to further your skills. Create a schedule and stick to the schedule. Find somebody to practice with. I know that, I think it was Chad and, who was it, Chad? Lucy, maybe? Chad? You guys were practicing, getting together. Oh, Busayo. You were getting together with Busayo to practice. And she was saying, oh my God, it's so great, even just to have one other person here that can just you meet and you practice with. Do those things. It's so good for you guys to be hooking up with each other and helping each other. You'll get there much quicker. And the idea is that it's a joyful process, that you're finding pleasure in it, that you're being playful about it. And you're going to find you'll get much better faster if you can keep your mind on the ease and the fun of it. So any questions about that so far while I take a sip of water? Any questions? Esmeralda says, I'm excited, but just don't feel ready. Does that make sense? I want to teach, but there's something telling me I'm not ready. Need more time. Need to practice. Okay, cute. So, Esmeralda, and this goes for everybody, you have to ask yourself this question. Maybe everybody can put that in the box. How do you know when you're ready? How do you know when you're ready? What are the signs? What has to happen for you to equal ready? And ready for what? Ready to teach a practice class, or ready to teach for money or on a schedule, or ready for what? All I want you to be ready for is teaching a practice class, very low stakes, with another leader, or with your husband, or with your friends that you invite over that know you're practicing. What is it that you have to do to feel ready? So part of I'm not ready, if you're thinking ready means you have no fear, or if ready means you're perfect, or if ready means you are excellent in musicality, you know all the moves. So I'm trying to see if that ready is really something that's just an excuse, or is it really just saying, yes, you're not ready because you don't know the series, you don't know the affirmations, and you don't know the moves. If that's the case, then I say, true, you're not ready, but what's your plan to get ready and by when? So you want to also be clear about those things. Make a timeline. By the end of this month, I will have taught 3 more practice classes. So if you know you have to teach those 3 practice classes, then you know you have to get yourself ready for those practice classes. So if you book them already and you invite people already, it's going to put a fire underneath your butt to say, okay, well, now I have to get ready. I can't just imagine I'm going to be ready one day. I have to literally get myself ready. So Esmeralda, pick a date, plan 2 classes, get people there, really get yourself like on the hook and get yourself ready. And then don't expect to be perfect, but expect to at least have something where you're like, okay, I know the affirmations, I know the moves, I feel pretty good about the musicality part, and I feel like I could get through a class and give them a decent experience. So try that. Lou says, when you're scared, but you know you have to do it because it's too important to let my ego get in the way. Nicole says, you set a time and you commit. Yeah, you have to really make the fear of failure less painful than the fear of regret. You want to make the fear of regret, the feeling of regret, the regret of not doing it, the regret of not practicing, the regret of not showing up, the regret of giving up on a dream, the regret of not doing what you really wish you would be doing. Really let that be a bigger motivator than the pain of failure, the pain of not looking good, the pain of not being perfect, right? So these are all, this whole thing, this whole process that you guys are on is really, and I said at the beginning of the session, it's for you. It's so that you can pull up, invoke in yourself these skills. There's just no other way to develop the skills to face your fears and to bring out that leader in you except for to actually be willing to fumble through it and do it. So make the pain of regret louder than the pain of failure, possible failure, whatever that means. Sharon, I am starting learning the material commitment when I know the sequence and affirmations by heart. Okay, so Sharon, what's your commitment to learning the affirmations and the sequence by heart? So I understand you will do it when you have that by heart, but what's the process? What's the schedule you're committing to? How are you going to get there and by when? So you want to give yourself deadlines. I'm going to learn the sequence and the affirmations by heart by Friday. I'm going to practice 30 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. There's a recording on your leader page where I'm just saying the affirmations and the moves. I think I'm saying the moves, saying the affirmations over and over and cueing it and doing it on the music. Those are really good recordings for you guys just to listen to. Say the words along with me. Try to memorize them. Just immerse it in you. You guys, this is like really, really great stuff to just be immersing yourself in, feeding yourself with, like listening to those recordings and doing the words and the affirmations on the beat while you're walking, while you're driving, like mindless times. It's easy to get that in, and it's going to have a powerful effect on you. Powerful to be saying, I'm one of a kind. I'm a creative genius. I am in the flow. I just found my mojo. I'm a game changer. I'm a passion seeker. I'm a pleasure maker. I'm a light bringer. Like, to be saying that over and over and over, you're going to be so high and vibrating so much light and getting into that balancing of the second chakra. You're going to be like, holy cow, I've got to teach this class. Look at this. This is amazing. I feel amazing. I want everybody to feel this. But you can't have that if you're not investing in some kind of real immersing yourself in the material. So the theme of tonight is, don't say I'm just going to get there someday. Say by when, and what's your plan to getting there by when. You want to be ready in 2 weeks. What's your plan? You're going to practice every day, 10 minutes. What do you think you need to do to make that goal of being ready to do what by when? You need real measurable goals and processes. That's not the right word, but the steps that you're going to take. So I want you guys to get really, I want to say invested, but that's not really the word I want. It's organized. Now, I don't know that you're not being organized, so I don't think that's the right word either. But I think maybe just clear about, you're in this game, being in the game fully. Yes, there's a dip, but once you learn the ABCs, it's very easy to read. But if you don't know the ABCs, reading is impossible. So you're just learning your ABCs right now, and nobody gets to get through this. So get the ABCs clear, get the musicality clear, get the moves and the affirmations strongly implanted, and then the rest you just practice. Just get in front of people. She says, I have complete stage fright. So yes, fear is probably the factor. I know moves and affirmations that freeze when put on the spot, and fear that happening when I'm practicing. Okay, so here's the deal. When you have stage fright, here's one thing about stage fright. Stage fright happens when you are more focused on yourself than somebody else. When you're like, oh my God, are they gonna like me? Am I gonna be good enough? Are they gonna think I'm great? Are they gonna think I look good enough? What if they don't wanna do the class? What if they don't say the affirmations? What if they think I'm too old to do this, too young to do this, whatever, right? So your mind is filled with all of these thoughts of what if, but it's all self-centered. The beauty of this class, and when you get in front of real people instead of just imagining being in front of real people, is that when you're there, if you've prepared a decent amount, you now have people in front of you that you care about. Now, you want them to have a good experience. And in that moment, if you can keep cultivating that awareness that you're here for them and you're just going to do what you can to have them have a good time, you start to shift your focus from yourself to them. And when you move out of that, you move into more compassion or empathy or excitement that they're really going to get something out of this. And you focus more on the giving and the serving than you do on the getting. Are they going to like me? And when you make that shift, you become more present and you don't have all of that, or you're not really as focused on what if they don't like me, or they're rolling their eyes, they're bored, they don't like this. And it'll shift your state. And then the other thing that helps to really cure stage fright is hell of a lot of practice. Really, like, just make sure you have those basics down. Know the words, know the affirmations, have a notebook there that has your notes and the affirmations there that you can look at, write them on the mirror if you want to. And at some point, you just got to kick your own butt and get out there and be like, I'm willing to fail 20 times. I'm willing to be absolutely awful 20 times. It's like when I was trying to get pregnant and I was trying and trying and trying. We tried maybe like 15 times between all the different methods that we did. And when it came time about number 6, and I had had a miscarriage, and I had to really sit with myself and be like, okay, what's the deal here? Like, how long am I willing to be in this game? And I said, I am willing to be in this game for 4 more years. 4 more years. I'm willing to be in this game 4 more years. And if in 4 years I'm not pregnant, then I will consider giving up. But there was a line. So that then I thought, well, if I'm in it for 4 years, then I can relax. I can relax. Each time I do it is not do or die, right? And it was the one or the one after that that I got pregnant. Because when we're trying to be so perfect and everything has to be now, we scare ourselves to death. So you want to give yourself a number. I'm going to be terrible for 20 classes. I get 20 classes to be terrible at it. Give yourself something like that so that you give yourself some room. Give yourself some room to, like, mess up and fumble through it because there's just no other way. It's like when you're learning a new language and you know it in the book and you know the vocabulary, but you're so afraid to say the words because you don't want to sound awful. There's just no other way. You can't learn to speak a new language without actually speaking it. And that's the game that you're in. So the stage fright, you can overcome that stage fright with focusing on the other and being well prepared. And then just go, I'm going to have stage fright. Okay. Can I handle that feeling of stage fright? Yeah. Do I know how to change my state? Yes, I do know how to change my state. So maybe I should practice changing my state from stage fright to excitement. So use the tools that you know and start practicing. Okay, I think that, Jackie, may I practice the warm up Saturday before dance? Realize how awesome the warm up jazzes me up and boosts my. Yes, you can. If you guys come on Saturdays and you want to come early, a little early to practice, and if you happen to come to dance class, you can come early and practice. That's a great, great, great idea. You can get there by 9 o'clock, 8:45. So I just want to go back. We're going to wrap it up, but I'm looking at your answers about what you do for people that you love. And I'm seeing give lots of hugs, be patient. I see the best in them and sincerely convey that. I'm supportive of their uniqueness, empathetic, mothering, nurturing, encouraging. So you want to look at this list and just think, are you mothering to yourself? Are you nurturing to yourself? Are you encouraging to yourself? Are you seeing the best in yourself? Are you being loving towards yourself as you are to the ones that you love? And I don't even want an answer. I want you to contemplate it. I want you to watch yourself. I want you to have a sign. Am I loving myself today? I want you to have another sign that says, am I being playful? Is this with ease that I am the question, the what? Am I doing this with ease? Am I facing this challenge with ease? Who am I being in this challenge? Can I bring some fun, some playfulness, something different, something silly, some sexiness, something? Can I bring something else out in me that would ease this fear or this worry or this doubt? And that's really what I want you to focus on in the next couple of weeks, about getting yourself really to experience all of the beauty and the benefits of the second chakra. Read your materials, dive into what the second chakra is about, contemplate it. Ask yourself, is this a loving action? Am I being loving? When you notice yourself being loving to somebody else, pause, acknowledge it, see it, feel it, so that you're starting to build this level of consciousness where you're keeping yourself invested in this conversation constantly. And that's just a big part of your training, to just keep asking, what is self-love? Am I experiencing that? Am I able to find new ways to develop that in myself? And can I start to share that with people, not even just in class, but within my daily conversations? Can I be a little more authentic or a little more vulnerable or a little bit more present in the conversations that I'm having with people? Can you share about Intensati on a daily basis with somebody new? Just anything. Oh, I'm practicing today. I just got trained in Intensati. One of the things I'm feeling challenged with is really getting myself out there or dealing with my stage fright. Like, bring it into conversation. Let people know what journey you're on. Talk about it. Let them come back and be able to ask you, hey, how's it going? How's your training going? Have you been practicing? Did you do it? They'll be like, I want to try it. I'll be your practice student. So just let it be really right here every day. There should be something that you are doing every single day that's bringing you back to the practice, back to what it is to be a leader, developing these skills. So whatever you need to do, whether it's putting alarms on your phones, am I loving myself now? Putting sticky notes, having accountability with the friends that you're meeting, and really keeping yourself in this game, recognizing that you are meeting a challenge, but it's really how you are developing your leadership skills. You're in the game right now. So I hope this call tonight or this webinar was helpful for you. And I really hope you guys know how much you mean to me and how much I am investing all my love in this process, because I believe in you and I see you guys as really great, great leaders. And I want to help you step into that greatness. I want to help me bring this practice to the world, as I believe it will be, and it will be very soon, but only with your help. So thank you for that. And I love you, and we'll be in touch. Good night.